My friends, my friends. Welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Mafia Sports Report. As always, I am Dr. Love, and of course, who do I have over here? Well, of course, it's Sauce Bronson, baby. What's up?
As a guy who works outside, yes, my hands look rough enough to peel potatoes nowadays, and they're only going to get worse.
Oh, God. Oh yeah, Michigan winter, here it comes.
Hey, listen, I take Michigan winter over summer any day of the week. You can call me what you want. I still sleep good at night.
There you go. Come at him. Come at him. There you go.
Hey, you know what else is great? In one of my fantasy football leagues, I played slash plays because my team definitely was terrible. Then my other fantasy football league, I just got kicked out of the playoffs. So but what's great is the Lions won a game. And now I get to enjoy football.
Oh, wait. What'd you say about the Lions? Lions won a game. What's up?
Hey, listen, we won a game. That's all that matters, baby.
We are pretty much, from what I saw, right now, we are making the playoffs. Pretty much. I think they said that there was one 11-game scenario where, some of them would have to have 11 separate games, including us losing out.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't like statistics, but I do like the fact that if we win any of our games, we're Kings of the North.
All we gotta do is win one more game, and for the first time since I was 10 years old, my football team will have won a division.
There you go.
But that's enough about football. Let's talk about let's talk about the good old pro wrestling.
Oh yeah, of course, for sure.
Hey, did you hear the news about Liv Morgan?
I saw when she had gotten arrested, but yeah, I didn't. Was there other news after that? No, I didn't.
Hey, pretty much, I guess she got caught with the devil's lettuce, and
I saw it. It looks like she got caught with a very small amount of that and some edibles or whatnot. And at this point, she's fine. She was already off TV. It wasn't like she was in a current storyline or anything. It maybe would have been different, slightly different, if she was currently in some kind of working storyline. I think it's funny though, is the same weekend that she was hanging out with Mr. MJF himself, and they were having a little party themselves out there. I don't know. I'm just saying. Right. But I don't know if he partakes in the devil's lettuce. I don't know.
Now. A lot of those guys, listen, it's 2023. The pain, I would say the pain with like the rigorous amount of basically what they put their bodies through. They definitely are partaking a little lettuce, which I think in the long run is good because it works out for them instead of them constantly popping pills.
Yeah.
It's not like my uncle Kurt Angle, who needed 13 Vicodin just to get out the bed.
Yeah, now that tells you.
Yeah, imagine if he was he had bunk beds with Mr. RVD, partaking RVD's Scooby snacks. I'm sure my Uncle Kurt would have been just fine.
I think so. He might have. It might have helped him actually, if you think about it. But Oh gosh, and we're gonna be talking about a couple of those guys today at least. But yeah, basically we're as we're kind of winding down the 2023, want to kind of go on some more holiday themed. Not necessarily holiday themed, but more so December themed shows. Because there's been every month usually is some kind of shows that are usually tied to that month. And for a while there was a couple. And I'm just gonna start off with this because one, I just kind of rewatched it. And also, it started in December. It might not have finished there, but it has to be the inaugural Vengeance pay-per-view, which in 2001. So it was the first Vengeance pay-per-view. It was right after the Invasion storyline that ended at Survivor Series. Call it as you will, Invasion, the pay-per-view, was one of the highest buy rates of all time. So not non-WrestleMania buy rate. So, but the Invasion storyline failed. We all know. But obviously, the big thing about Vengeance in 2001 was the idea that we're going to have an undisputed champion for the first time. Sorry, let's go with that. And since then, we've had what? Two more undisputed champion.
Well, let's see. Well, yeah, I would say since then, I mean, you had what?
Randy Orton, and then Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And then Roman Reigns, right? So
yeah,
I'd say that's exactly it.
Wait, what's what? But wait, no, I think well, John Cena had those belts.
Oh, you're right.
Brock Lesnar won them.
He just made it into one belt. All right,
so you can honestly say since Jericho, it's been Randy Orton and Roman Reigns.
You're right. Okay.
I had to think for a second. I'm like, because I know that's because that was the night where he basically, birthed Suplex City. So he gave Mr. John Senior 16 suplexes for every championship. So.
Oh, that was a very interesting night. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of go over some December pay-per-views, whether they're the Armageddon, some of the good, the bad, and of course we're gonna get to the really bad. I'm gonna have to take care of this. And I really hope my brother maybe comes on tonight. If he does, he doesn't, that's fine. But we were one of the unlucky few that got the ECW December to Dismember.
What you said you were the 1 in 6,000?
So we actually looked up the number. It was actually more than that, but it was like 90,000. Or like, you see, it keeps jumping. Some people say it's about low as 60. Some people say it was high as 90. But regardless, that's the lowest of all time.
So let's do this. Let's just say, for the sake of numbers, let's just ballpark it. Let's just ballpark it at 70, 75. I think that's fair.
Yep, and that's
so basically what you're telling me at this point. There were more people at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. If you put all those people together, all those people were all the people in America that bought that pay-per-view.
Oh yeah.
If you really think about it, basically that whole stadium out of all of America, basically everybody in that stadium bought that pay-per-view.
Yeah, and let me tell you something even worse about that too. The attendance for that show was less than 1,200 people.
Yes. Yeah, that, which is crazy. At that point, it was like a Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah, it was. Lord, we'll get into that one later. So, but yeah, so like I was saying, when it came to that Vengeance show, that first show, I remember because it was such a big deal. Obviously they're setting up for everything going on with before we got here, we got Papa Mafia here. We got waiting on Sauce to dye his hair blonde like Dr. Love, looking like Cisco on here. Well, you know what? That's still from when I went all out for Halloween. Was that when I was Guy Fieri? So I'm letting it grow out a little bit, and then I'm going to be cutting it short. So yeah, actually, went blonde. You really would look like Cisco. I'm just saying.
Nah, I'll look more like that UFC fighter without taking off the glasses. And shave my face. I'll look more like what's that dude? The UFC fighter Tito Ortiz.
Oh my God! Yeah, and then of course we have yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And of course, if you you're right back. Let me tell you something. Let me talk to you. But yeah, and after watching the Vengeance show again, two things right off the bat. It is one of the most weird promotional videos I've ever seen. Like, they always pay-per-views have these like kind of setup videos for it. Had classy Freddie Blassie and very doing like just sitting there watching a tape video, like doesn't even know what planet he's on. And seriously, it was very odd. But it did remind me watching some of these pay-per-views again, whether it was this, whether it was the Armageddons, whether it was the even ECW December to Dismember. I just miss those sets, man. The sets, the unique sets for all these shows. Like this, I don't know. They were just so cool when you saw like the industrial setup for here. Armageddon had all these cars like a junkyard set up, and then they had like the wall of fire coming up where the wrestlers come out, and even if they didn't have fire, they had fire. It was cool, Oh man, it's pretty nuts. It was pretty crazy, but looks like we do have another chat here. We got Papa Mafia. So your thoughts on CM Punk and his return? Has it gone as planned, or do you think he'll do something stupid any day now?
No, and once again, I brought it up even when he was in the AEW. I said if Phil ever goes back to WWE, it'll be good for him only because, as we learned, Phil needs to be micromanaged. And there's only one company that's going to micromanage him. And that's the one that's in Connecticut.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's for sure. And, right now, he's not going to make he's not highest selling merch right now with his shirts. He's already got built-in feuds right now. He's already pretty much at this point guaranteed the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. He's guaranteed he's in the Royal Rumble. Like, he's not wrestling until the Royal Rumble. And people, and that's fine. I don't think he's going to wrestle until the Royal Rumble.
I guess technically he's probably not going. Yeah, I can see him technically not wrestling on, I guess you want to call it TV, but he'll definitely be, because they're doing like their little holiday tours, their little dark their little super shows. I think you'll see him in the ring on those, as far as getting used to things and whatnot, as far as the WWE thing, the WWE way of things, as far as in the ring versus AEW.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see him like, I guess you want to call it the house shows.
Yeah.
I think you'll probably see him on there. Well, you might get one little like tag match with him on like the Raw, like the second Raw before the Rumble.
I can see that. Because to kind of hype up the Rumble right there.
Yeah, the numbers for Raw, them hyping up, as far as, because at that point now people's already hyped up. I don't know what those numbers were, those ratings were. Phil coming back to Raw, but I'm sure if they need a, like you said, a quick spike, right before the Rumble, you need a quick rating spike. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Phil tag, he wrestles, but it's through a tag match.
Yep, that's actually probably the best way to do it. I mean, look what they even did before when Hogan and came back. Remember before WrestleMania 18, they technically wrestled in Detroit in a tag team match.
I was there.
And you were there, Sauce, yeah.
It's Stone Cold, because Stone Cold came down the ring with a chair. It was ready for all the smoke.
Yeah.
And of course, and then of course NWO's first match in a while, of course they went over. So, and yeah.
So that's a good idea to set that up, because then you're not having to do all the work, but then you're kind of show off what you're going to do, at the Rumble, because obviously you're going to be a hot ticket at the Rumble.
And I think what's going to happen is going to be Seth Rollins and Gunther versus. No, I'm sorry, it's going to be Seth Rollins and. Oh, I don't think Logan Paul is keeping. Well, I would say Seth Rollins and whatever. I guess whoever is holding Intercontinental Champion versus. I'm mad. Let's assume the Intercontinental Champion is heel as well.
Yeah.
You'll probably have them versus CM Punk and whoever's chasing the US title. That's gonna be like that's gonna be your closer like 2 weeks, before Rumble.
There you go.
I'm
hoping LA Knight, Kevin Owens, someone's in that US title hunt right there. That'd be good. I think that would work, but that's just, hey, I'm just, throwing some. I don't know. What am I saying, Kevin Owens? I don't know. What am I saying? But looks like let's say Papa Mafia said, "Have you guys ever seen the disco ladder match? They had to get a gold disco record that was on Tencel. Are you talking about WCW with because I believe I do vaguely remember it, but unfortunately, I have to delete things." Because it starts to rot the brain when you have that much trash. And if that's what you're referring to,
oh, I do apologize. I forgot. Logan Paul and that belt is on SmackDown, so it'll probably be Gunther and Rollins versus CM Punk and whoever's chasing Gunther for the IC belt. My bad, Internet Land.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, hey, we got to crucify you. Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. It's the season, apparently.
I see what you did there.
There we go. Oh gosh. But anyways, excuse me. So, getting back to that pay-per-view though, like I said, so Vengeance, and I have the card here. I am not going over every match in detail.
Yeah, you don't need to.
I'm not, but I am going to bring up some very interesting points on certain things, mainly because I just watched it. So you have Scotty Duhati and Albert defeated Christian and Test. This was kind of like that, the Un-Americans Christian Test. This is like the precursor to that gimmick. Yeah. It really was, because they hadn't hit that yet, but it ended up becoming like they were teaming them. And actually, someone brought up something the other day when I was looking up some other research. We usually like to talk about certain wrestlers that we personally think are the best at a certain thing. For example, Dropkick. I say Bob Holly, Hardcore Holly, one of the best of all time. Billy Gunn can do a very good Dropkick. Randy Orton does a very good Dropkick.
Chris.
Right? Now, I'll tell you right now, and people can come at me, Test is a beast at the big boot. Beast. If you go and watch Test anytime he does a big boot, like a running kind of big boot, he made it look good. And he looked like devastating. Sometimes he fell, but it looked good. It almost kind of like a big boot from hell. Kind of like a clothesline from hell. Any chance you get a chance just looking something up? I don't know. And I only started looking it up because I was looking up a different match, and I was like, you know what? I'm putting them on my own personal list of people that do because you never think about a big boot if you think about it.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know. We might end up doing one of those lists in the new year where it's like we have many different moves, and we're like, okay. Who does these things the best? Let's see what we got. Start pulling out some very random stuff. But anyways, kind of just moving on. There wasn't, at this point, you had Edge versus William Regal, and you had that match happened a lot. I remember that match happened so many times into the new year. Edge and Regal. And, Regal, I still miss his wrestling. Great technician. Great heel work, but it was just seeing Edge, young Edge, champion Edge, because Intercontinental champion. I was like, it's so different. It's just so different seeing him at that point. But you're also talking about at that point, 22 years ago or so. Oh my God! I think I just my hair just turned gray. I think yours did too, buddy. But. And then you had Jeff and Matt Hardy actually had a match against each other, which I completely either deleted this from my memory, but then when I rewatched it, I forgot. It was a whole thing, Survivor Series. Jeff, instead of leaving the cage, he did the Swanton, missed it, and the Dudley Boys ended up winning. So then they had this weird feud where Lita was the referee. It was a very weird match, and they kind of just forgot about it. It wasn't until years later, when they had their match at WrestleMania 25, where they had that feud from Royal Rumble, and it was actually basically a TLC match at WrestleMania. And that was actually good. This thing, I don't know, very weird. Dudley Boys, seeing a lot of Dudley Boys in this old stuff. It's pretty cool to remember, just reminiscing about it.
The greatest tag team ever.
There we go, baby. There we go.
Stand by that.
There we go. I know. It's like I like my shirt. Oh, you can't see it right here, but my shirt, as you know, is right over there somewhere. But yeah, Kane and Big Show. Seeing Kane and Big Show actually moving, not lumbering around, moving was actually pretty interesting. I was like, okay, all right. But you know who won this. That's the Dudley Boys. Then randomly, Undertaker versus Rob Van Dam for the hardcore title. Actually, a pretty good match. I remember when the Undertaker was randomly hardcore champion. So, do you remember that? Like, that little bit? It was crazy. It was crazy, but it was actually a pretty damn good match. And, they gave him like 12 minutes to do a match, and they went all over the place. So, it was again, it was good. Not great. And who was in the house? We got D-Town guy. Yeah, what's up, buddy? What's going on, man? Thanks for joining us, as always.
No, we're just talking about stuff that happened in past December pay-per-views.
Yeah, we're talking about Vengeance 2001. Then like Trish Stratus defeated Jacqueline in like 3.5 minutes. Very nothing. Like it was a very weird kind of like, here you go. Do something. It was a very weird match. But that's not what people were buying this pay-per-view. People were buying it for the back-to-back-to-back matches, by the way. They weren't spread out. They were back. They literally happened as Stone Cold Steve Austin beat Kurt Angle. And then Jericho beat The Rock. And then, of course, Jericho defeating Stone Cold with the slowest count I've ever seen in my entire life by Earl.
Booker T.
Oh, my God, with Booker T coming out and hitting them. But
what's funny is when he kicked him and then Booker T bounced into a foreground camera and the camera panned on him. From that moment on, for like the next 10 years, whenever they played Sidetrack, they would show that one clip.
They would. They show that one clip, and it's like, oh my God, that's so true. They were like, we're going to keep this clip forever.
Yep.
All the time now. And watching this match is like the promo was really good for it throughout the pay-per-view. And of course, just Kurt Angle and Stone Cold, that was great. That match alone was great, just by itself. Jericho and The Rock was really good too. Real back and forth. But it's just, these matches were just so heavy-handed in the interference, the McMahon had to come and interfere as much as possible. You got and then you get a win with Jericho with The Rock, with a low blow on the rock bottom. Kind of forgot he did the rock bottom to actually win the match on him. So, it's just like, okay, all right. And I'll never forget watching this live with my buddies. I remember we had our game that we play, and I remember like two people were like, "That's Jericho's winning." They're like, "Jericho's not winning." I'm like, "Jericho's winning." It makes sense. Like Rock doesn't need it. Angle kind of already had the belt again when they gave him, that title run there
for like a month.
Yeah. So it's like, no, they're gonna give it to Jericho. And you gotta remember at this point, what Triple H was still rehabbing. He was about to come back from injury to get set up for that whole storyline and everything.
And he was advertised on a poster, which was, and everybody thought Triple H was coming back that night.
You're right. Yeah, the poster was sweet. I remember I did that as a drawing in one of my art classes because they always had sweet posters, man. They had sweet sets and they had awesome posters.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up in a minute while you're talking.
Oh yeah, no problem. But so watching these matches happen, and then they start the final match with both guys on the ground, by the way, which again, technically is not supposed to be how you do it. You're supposed to be on your feet, and then you can start the match. They're both, because they're laid out, and it's like, what's going on, guys? What just happened?
Look at that.
Yep.
I remember looking at that poster. I was like, holy crap, he's coming back. Let's go.
I know. Yeah. It's bringing me back, man. Yeah, I drew that. I wish I still had that picture, but I definitely drew that for I think my art class. I did that. I remember doing the Judgment Day poster with Undertaker and the Gallows, and then a couple more. So, because again, they were awesome posters. But then again, the slowest count of all time with Earl Hebner, and then now you have a new undisputed champion. Was the pay-per-view great? No, not really great. It's always memorable now, being the first Vengeance show, and then immediately move out from December. It was the only time it was even in December. They moved it out of December, and then they put Armageddon back in December. So I don't know. I thought it definitely needed to be on here because it was it was a show that kind of ended the whole. I know technically Survivor Series ended the alliance but this one really just ended it because now you had the undisputed title.
Yeah, combining both belts.
Yeah, you just forgot. Like, we were fighting against each other. Now, all right, we're cool. We're cool, guys. We're cool.
It was basically just WWE. At that point, by the time Survivor Series got there, it was just like WWE, the top card versus mid card. At that point, people were just over it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I said, it's just it's cool remembering Jericho win that title. It does suck about how they treated him as champion afterwards. It really did. It really.
I think I always think back to that, and I think with Jericho, Jericho's whole career. Well, for most of his career, he was like at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Ain't
a lot of things. But because at that point they were trying to, they made him heel, but they made him go heel against the worst person as far as booking wise, which was The Rock. So he just like the wrestling, when it came to the ring, Jericho could wrestle circles around The Rock. But it was just like when it comes to Mike, anything else, it was just like when it's against The Rock, it's almost like if it's not a monster heel,
yeah,
they just kind of flounder. And it was just like it's one of those things where it was just like they was trying to push Jericho, as a top guy, but they did it with him as a heel. Yeah. And people just wasn't buying it. People were just like, because I guarantee you, had they mixed things up, let's say they would have had Stone Cold still be heel.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. And then, instead of him, turning, for the what's the name? If they would have just kept Stone Cold heel for maybe just another month before the Rumble, had made Stone Cold heel and kept Jericho his face, the night he won those championships, we would be talking about it still as we will really be talking about it as like the greatest night ever. Like that would have been because that would have been like the redemption night of when he won the WWE title, that he had to give it back. But if had he been heel when he won those, when he became undisputed, had he been babyface when he became undisputed, totally different feeling. Yeah. How everybody would have felt about it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you for sure.
And then with Stone Cold, you could have just made him disappear for give him a month off, and then have him not show back up until Royal Rumble. He comes out, and then to show that he's the face again. You just have him just start beating up heels. They're like, people like, oh, okay, Stone Cold's back, whatever. Okay, cool. Or you could have cut a segment backstage during that Rumble to show that he was babyface again by maybe him going up and just beating the crap out of McMahon, like it was a Tuesday.
Oh gosh, that's funny. Oh my gosh. Let me see. I got this. But yeah, like I said, I still just loved seeing Jericho come around those two belts. I do have both those.
Oh, he looked good.
He looked good.
Definitely looked good.
He still is the first undisputed champion.
Of my world.
I know. Wait, hold on. I love this chair. There you go. Oh, that's fun. And looks like we do have a D-Town guy. I always liked the Raw and SmackDown during Christmas time, some classics. There was some definitely fun times for it. They always had like they just had the on Raw, R-Truth beat JD McDonough to enter the Judgment Day, baby. I'm not going to lie. I'm so happy that the national treasure that is R-Truth is back. But then the Miracle on 34th Street fight. So, and you have, or when what was it last year on, was it NXT? I think it was then when he had the New Day as like nutcrackers dressed up as, and then they were fighting against Pretty Deadly. It was, these are fun little things, And over the years, always fun. Even back then when the women they were doing those like the lingerie or the pillow fights or whatever. Even sometimes like those were fun too. Don't anybody says they didn't like them.
Oh,
They lie.
basically, my saying is, you show me somebody who didn't like it, I'll show you a liar.
Right? I know. Oh man.
So, Doc, can I go ahead and take a swing?
Absolutely.
So the one that comes out to mind, and I've been going back and forth. I know we've been talking. Well, you talking about Vengeance, but we go. Let's talk about Armageddon.
Which Armageddon?
2008.
2008. Okay.
All right. The year that Drug Hardy was, that he ended up winning the belt at the very end of the year. When he was supposed to, he basically was on his like 5th second chance. And mostly, legend has it that particular year, we got to rewind it all the way to February after the Rumble, February, March-ish, when he was supposed to win the Chamber and go to WrestleMania and for the WWE title then. But the reason why this pay-per-view is a little bit special to me. So we got a couple guys that you're familiar with. One name is Rio. And the other one is Dre, who is also the co-host of the Academy Sports Show that shows up every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Mafia Sports Report channel on YouTube. But these two had a bet. They had a $50 bet that Andre himself said Jeff Hardy would not be champion this year. And Rio said, I am going to take you on that bet, and whatnot. So the months go by. So, Jeff Hardy was getting that crazy, crazy push. And then he screwed it all up because he has no self-control. And of course, 20 years later, much hasn't changed. 15 years later, much hasn't changed.
Not changed, but
So he missed Mania. He missed most of the year. And then he comes back, I want to say October-ish, September, October-ish. So we get all the way to the end of the year. The last and final pay-per-view of 2008. So that particular pay-per-view, I'll be honest with you, most of it was just we all were just sitting at this point, we all were just tuning in to see is Jeffrey Hardy, is this man gonna do
it? What was his name? Nero, right?
Yeah. Mr. Jafari Nero Hardy Sr. What is this man going to accomplish this goal? It's down to the wire. $50 is on the line.
And that they remember that $50 bet.
Oh yeah. Like
we have one more chance.
Listen, the next time we get Mr. Young Rio out to let's say to watch some wrestling with us, I'll let he'll tell you his side of the story. But as far as that pay-per-view, I mean, we had a weird dark match. It was for the tag team titles. We had John Morrison and The Miz versus Jesse and Festus. Why was that a pre-show? I don't know.
Wait, and what was their theme song?
Just gives me gravy.
Yeah.
Man. Hey, top 5 greatest WWE songs. And I stand on that at all times. But it was weird that they put this as a dark match, the pre-show match.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why in a minute. Because guess what match was on the card that no one cared about?
What match?
Matt Hardy versus Vladimir Kozlov.
Oh my God.
And I understand why nobody cared about it. I was a huge Kozlov fan. I was like, this man is gonna make it somehow, some way. And boy, was I wrong. And then after that, you had the Intercontinental tournament match. It was like, the finals, and it was basically Punk versus Mysterio. And of course, Punk went over.
And he had that great feud, that long feud with Mr. Really good.
Yeah, which is interesting because I'm surprised Dominic didn't really say much as far as Punk when he returned, because I remember Punk, I forgot what he said, but like it was a segment during SmackDown where Punk was basically like talking crap to Rey Mysterio about Dominic.
Yeah,
but who knows? It may come up at a later time. We'll see. We'll see if people remember what kayfabe is. And then you know what sucked about the Kozlov match with Matt Hardy? It wasn't for the ECW championship. It was a non-title match. I was like, are you serious? Like, you could put that belt on Kozlov.
Matt Hardy was champion, but it wasn't for the title.
Yes. Kozlov defeated a champion, and there was no belt on the line. Matt bow-legged out wrestled stiffer. I was like stiffer than frozen ice cube Hardy. I was like, are you? I was sitting on, looking back at it, I was like, are you serious? Like, how in the world? Why would you like putting that belt on? I think putting that belt on Kozlov might have, there was a slim chance it could have helped. Could have helped them as far as irrelevant, because obviously at that point nobody was really caring too much about Matt Hardy at that point. Like, as long as Jeff Hardy existed in the same company, no one's going to care about Matt.
No, not in that aspect. No, it took him going to TNA and redeveloping his character into, in my opinion, arguably when he became broken, Matt Hardy.
Oh, the greatest character. I would say his greatest character, greatest incarnation ever, next to version 1.
Oh, no, Lord.
And that was the thing about Matt Hardy. It seemed like whenever he was away from his brother, that's when he shined the most. Because at that point, people just couldn't, at that point, they had to like really focus on him and pay attention to him and care. They couldn't just look at him and be like, okay, so when's Jeff coming? Where's Jeff at?
Exactly.
That's been one of his, I would say Achilles heels. But that's for another day. Then you had Fit Finlay defeat Mark Henry in the Belfast Brawl, basically which is a hardcore match. It gave Fit Finlay an excuse to use, his Harry Potter staff to beat the crap out of Mark Henry. It was like 8 minutes, whatever. And of course, it was a slog match because good old Mark Henry at that point. But it was just it was there. It happened. I mean, it was a fun little match, but whatever. And then you had HBK, he revealed his, he was going through that feud with JBL. Basically, it was like, if you defeat me. Oh, no, it was the one where, when he was under JBL's payroll because allegedly he was broke.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's stupid storyline. Oh my God. I was like, really? This is the best y'all could do? It was like, I think it was just stupid because HBK was on the receiving end of the storyline. It was just like, this is just dumb. You know who that would have really worked for instead of HBK? And granted, at that point, he had already retired, unfortunately. That would have been a great Ric Flair storyline with JBL.
Oh, there you go.
He's still wrestling because he's broke and he's got this. Then JBL's like, well, hey, you little old, let's say, you old, you little old fart. Let's go, I'll go ahead and, give you $100,000, but you got to do what I say. Whatnot. That storyline would have made more sense with Flair than it would have with HBK. It was just so stupid.
Yeah.
At that point, we were just all over it. Like, come on, y'all could do better than this. You could have had, or it could have worked with any WWE legend or whatnot. It was just like you picked HBK for this. It was like I didn't care for it then, and looking back at it now, it sucks even more.
Yeah. Oh, that's annoying.
And then, of course, we got the good old bathroom break match, which was the 8 women match. It was a
oh God, my head's already.
It was a Santa's Little Helper match.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So let me just guess. I do not have this in front of me, guys. I do not have it in front of me. Let's see.
Okay.
Layla was probably in that match, or Michelle McCool. She was probably.
McCool was one.
Okay. Let's see. What's the heck's her? Ashley Massaro, was she in that match?
Surprisingly, no.
Not Dominash, not Dom.
Remember, this is Divas title era.
Mickey James.
Of course. Yep.
Natalia.
Yep.
Beth Phoenix.
Nope.
Oh, no, Beth Phoenix. Okay, let's see.
Because at that point, Beth Phoenix, Phoenix had a nice solid 2007 run, and at that point, she wasn't doing. They didn't know what to do with her after that point. After 07. So
Maurice.
Yep.
Any of the both Bellas? Either Bella?
Nope.
Ah.
Some of these you're not gonna get.
Oksana.
No.
Hey, I'm just saving these random girls.
One of these people.
Jillian
Hall. Yeah, Jillian Hall.
Yeah, I told you, man. I told you, man. Come on.
One of these people you're not gonna get because you forgot she even worked there.
Oh no. Okay, now
I forgot she was still there.
Wait, she still works there?
No. She was still there at the time.
Wait,
she did an appearance a couple years ago.
Maria?
She was there, but that's not who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. So, gotta give me a hint, man. I need to get this.
TNA.
TNA?
Yep.
Gail Kim.
Nope, close.
Oh, not Gail Kim. Damn, not Gail Kim. It caught me off guard.
She showed up at the Royal Rumble 2 years ago.
Victoria?
Yep, Victoria.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So basically, on one team, Jillian Hall, Maurice, Natalia, and Victoria versus Kelly, Maria, Michelle McCool, and Mickey James.
There you go.
And I think this was before Lake Cool got together and basically ran Mickey James out with the Piggy James storyline.
Gosh, horrible, terrible storyline.
But then, I say, I have to deal with that. Then, of course, we get the good old John Cena versus Chris Jericho match. It was the rematch from when Cena was basically off for like 6 months, came back and damn near buried Chris Jericho at Survivor Series for the World Heavyweight Championship. And
who won that match?
Oh, Cena.
So yeah, that was when Cena was briefly the world champion, the big gold champion. Yep. It was so weird. I just remember looking so weird on him. He won it twice, I think, right?
Yeah.
It did not fit him well. Obviously, it was just very weird looking on him.
It did because some people I know we talked about it a few months ago. There's certain belts that's synonymous with certain people. And looking at that was weird. Shoot, it was like looking at Triple H with the Cena belt. It just looked so weird.
Oh, that was very
that I will say that's one of the few things that was kind of hard to watch. Just watching Cena come out with this giant toy around his chest, around his waist. It was just that's
what's sad because the belt does look great. It's just it didn't look good with you.
Yeah, it's just certain wrestlers it just didn't click for. And granted, that belt's around for forever because it just sold forever.
Yeah, but they started relegating it as such a joke at that point, getting close to that point, and that's what really
because especially when The Rock came in, and The Rock, even though by that point we had I think was the worst version of The Rock that we've seen in a long time. Yeah, he was basically ragging on the belt on TV. So at that point, I guess it was we gotta change this because now we got people coming back ragging on it, and people like The Rock who McMahon ain't gonna really be mad at if he's ragging on it. Yeah, we got to do something about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's a redemption match. Everybody gets their rematch clause, and of course, Cena won or not. And then finally, we get to the main event. We have Mr. the man with 3 H's versus Jeffrey Nero Hardy Sr. versus Edge for the WWE Championship. And it was weird because it was why is Edge even in here? It didn't make any sense.
Until you saw the finish, then it made sense. Because
when they get to the finish, but before that, we why is this a triple threat match? This is just weird.
Yeah.
Granted, I guess they had nothing for Edge at the time. They just needed to give him something to do. And I'm looking back at it, I was like, "Sure, you could have threw Edge in the triple threat with Jericho and Cena," which eventually came to fruition a couple months later. But replace
Oh yeah, that would have worked way better.
Jericho with Big Show. That's basically what you got at Mania 2020.
Oh my gosh, that was such a bizarre match too.
It was a weird match, but those guys made it work.
They did.
Basically, you had Big Show just slogging around for the most part. But and then you get the two-man attitude adjustment. But anyway, we can go on track. I was like, why is Edge in this match? Just like it was just weird. Like it just because since September, Hardy versus Triple H versus basically we had to suffer through Jeff Hardy's promos. Or now every week on SmackDown. And it was like Triple H just had to carry this man on the microphone. And sometimes and maybe sometimes during in the ring, whatever. But I was just like, please let's go. Let's get someone with this. Hopefully Hardy wins the belt so this all pays off. Because listen to this man on the microphone. I'm just like, oh my God, just shut up. Shut up and just jump off a ladder or something. But so we finally get to the match. Then we get to that crucial moment where basically it was basically we get to the final moment where Triple H pedigrees Edge, Jeff Hardy does a swanton, his Triple H. Triple H goes rolling out the ring. And then Jeffrey pins Edge. I was like, that's why Edge was in this match. It was like that moment of Leonardo DiCaprio. We was like, Leonardo DiCaprio to me was like, yep, I know. Yep, I know.
Yeah, there was no way he didn't want to take that L, so.
Yeah, that was Triple H still with his ego. His ego was like, yeah, the only way y'all getting this off of me, if I got to wrestle him, only way this is coming off of me is y'all gonna have to throw somebody else in this dance. I'll do the job, but I'm not getting pinned.
Nah.
So it was like you basically like the match. The match was pretty solid, but it was like you brought in somebody to literally just do a job. Like he had it was like fitting a square peg in a round hole. It was like, yep, you're just here to get pinned by Jeff Hardy. Okay, but listen, just deal with it now. And you get your WrestleMania 25 payday in about 3 months.
There you go.
But with all this said, so the match happened, and we had the final minute. We had like the final minutes. When that moment happened, I thought poor Rio was gonna get kicked out of his apartment.
Oh no, he went ballistic, huh?
Yeah, jumping up and down all over. Just jumping off of stuff, jumping off of chairs, sofas, doing the Ultimate Warrior run around. That's
awesome. I mean, that's awesome.
Living room.
That's why we love what we love.
Yes. It was great. I wish I was there in person to see it, but this is what was told to me. But yeah, this man literally. So because the guy he looked up to, Jeff Hardy, his hero, in the final hours of 2008, this man finally gets a W after almost getting fired by WWE. Like multiple times during that year, this man finally wins the coveted prize, and Mr. Young Rio wins his $50.
Did he pay him right then too?
Oh yeah, right then.
It's like,
he made. Well, they both had their money ready to go.
I just like that they knew it was like the end of the year. They're like, here we go. This is the last.
And they put like as much trash as they were talking to each other throughout the last few months about who was going, about Jeff Hardy was not going to win and whatnot. And Mr. Andre swore up and down. He was like, Jeff is not winning it. I said he gonna be too high to make it into the building to even get to the ring. And it's funny because a couple years later, that damn near literally happened. That was literally spoken to fruition.
How funny. Oh.
But overall, that pay-per-view, the pay-per-view for the most part, it was pretty much like a paper. It was kind of like not paper. It was like a filler. I mean, granted, you had the Punk versus Mysterio, which was solid. always anytime with Jeff Hardy and Chris Jericho and John Cena. I mean, you can't really hate too much about that except the fact that Cena just never lost and whatnot. And then, the cherry on top, everyone's favorite emo hero finally got the W, finally got the belt, and Mr. Young Rio got his $50.
That's all that matters here. It's $50. But that's a great story too. And I remember watching that going, this is insane. This is insane. But he made so much money for him. His merch sales, the fans loved him.
Oh yeah, that man pushed crazy merch.
Yeah. So it's just just disheartening that his demons took over so much, but he's always been given more chances coming back.
Listen,
whether it was in TNA, whether it was in AEW. So I'm glad for that. I am.
According to the pro wrestling guys, Jeff Hardy's on his 13th second chance.
13.
I mean, you saw how he ended his WWE run. He at a house show, he just got out the ring, just walked out through the crowd for no reason. As just why, except for he was like, all right, Vince, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. So that just tells you something right there too. So, and I think if I remember correctly, the irony was they wanted him to take a drug test and everything. He refused, and then they found out he was not intoxicated or anything. He was just done. Done with them, which that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't at this point. But hey, never say never in wrestling. They come back for one more run. Oh
yeah, at this point, if you see the Hardy, I feel like at this point, Triple H, he's a student of the game as far as doing business. At this point, if the Hardys coming back for one last run, it's because they about to get inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, hey, that's
Hall of Fame. Do they little offer to the sunset run and call it a day?
It's actually a great way to put that. I could see them being this upcoming years in the Hall of Fame. Think about it. Man, Hardy's pretty not do anything.
Give me a match, Hardy's versus Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, exactly. Something kind of like that. And put them in the Hall of Fame. You already got the Dudleys in there now. You got basically APAs in there. In a sense, they are. They're
I would be so pissed.
They're in there.
But I ain't gonna lie, Doc. I'll be so pissed if Hardy's come back and they do a match with the Creed brothers. I'm like, why?
I know.
Why are we wasting everybody's time?
I like the Creed brothers, don't get me wrong, but they're not here to get their oh god, his back's my back hurts, so we're looking at him. Oh god, it's gonna wreck.
The Creed brothers are awesome. I'm like, but don't I don't want to see the Hardys fight. I really don't. I do not want to see the Hardys versus the Creed brothers. I'm just saying. Give me Hardys versus Pretty Deadly. Give me a little run with them. See, this sucks because then you could have had them do something with Maximum Male Role Models for a minute.
Yep.
There's a couple little, you could have did, as far as their little final run, a couple little solid teams to go against and call it a day. I mean, them versus Hardys versus Street Profits, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, there you go. Especially if they're getting them ready for a monster push, which I think they're planning on doing that now in 2024 for sure.
I'm still here.
Oh, no problem. But you're just doing your best John Cena impersonation, so it's fine. That is funny. Oh man. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, so that's actually a good choice. I never would have thought of that. But hey, I like the story behind it. That's what's fun.
That was the biggest thing. There was the story behind it, really.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a great story. It's comes back from adversity and $50 out of the line. It's like Money in the Bank. No, it's just $50 in the bank. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, it was funny too because at the WrestleMania 24 when Undertaker holds up the World Heavyweight title, Dre tells Real that could have been Jeff Hardy.
Oh, and then I would have been like, guess what? I still got your $50, so shut up.
And then I remember when it came with their squash Chavo Guerrero for the ECW title.
Oh my gosh.
And then he was like, that could have been Hardy too. Hardy could have been running with that terrible. He could have been running with that terrible looking belt.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Well, that was actually when it was the good belt. It hadn't changed the big silver belt yet. So to the you're talking about the ECW title, right?
Yeah.
It still was the old belt. At that point, they hadn't changed it over to the new belt yet. The silver, which by the way, that silver belt was supposed to be Triple H's new world title. That was the idea. The original idea that was be triple. Yeah, I actually owned the replica belt of it for a while. If you actually look at pictures of it, you can kind of just see how Triple H's Iron Cross motif he has on a lot of his stuff. It really looks like it could be something that Triple H would wear. But then
it's kind of like looking back at. I mean, I always thought the belt looked cool, but it kind of looks like. I'm looking at the plates right now. Actually, hold on. Let's do this.
Yeah, the side plates are definitely little iron crosses. I remember.
Let's see.
Yeah, it was a hefty belt too. They had made it a pretty hefty. Yeah, see what I mean? Look, they're clearly iron crosses on the sides. So, and then you got like the flames and stuff that were added to it. Like it was cool. Don't get me wrong. My problem I had with it was like it's silver. Right? You're a world champion. Well, you're a champion. You're silver. And that's just because McMahon just would refuse to make it on par with his main titles.
Oh yeah, which I understood. But as I always say at the end of the day, it's still, it's still a what I call it, a top card championship.
Yeah.
Like how people acknowledge, NXT when they say championship runs, they talk about NXT. You gotta acknowledge ECW no matter what. Yeah. ECW by that point was just NXT before it was NXT.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. It really is. And speaking of ECW, man, you knew this was coming, guys. I had to bring it up because this ridiculous show, and I have to bring it up. So. Another great story. Well, I say great very loosely when I say that. Excuse me. Back in 2006, 2 years before the events of $50 Jeff Hardy Gate, story. You had the December to Dismember pay-per-view. So ECW at that point had been revitalized into a semi-coherent show. Good way to what Sauce haven't brought up is they were NXT before NXT. That's the best way to describe it. Was it okay? Yeah, like the one night stands. The first two were good. First and the second, and then they started the show on Sci-Fi, and then that's where stuff just went. This is where you knew McMahon just hated it so much. He just wanted to just kill it, but he wanted to make it suffer.
Real quick. Apparently the net was with that one night stand.
Yeah.
So that year was 06, right? The one where basically Cena versus RVD.
Oh, 06, yeah.
Yeah, 06. They said that the network execs went to that show, USA Network execs. They went there and they were just appalled. Like they had no idea what they was getting themselves into. So I guess trying to sell this idea and you see what we got when it finally came to fruition.
Yep, and that's where they refused to have it on USA, so it had to go to the Sci-Fi channel. Which I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked wrestling was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah,
but the problem was they
immediately went there for a minute.
Yep. And the problem was this: they associated Sci-Fi with wrestling. So guess what? First episode. You had the zombie, yes, and he got kendo stick by Sandman, which kind of works. That's the Sandman. But then you had Kevin Thorne as the vampire character, and brought out his chick, which was fine. I didn't mind her. I mean, just saying. But he was a vampire, so now you had a vampire. And then it was just weird. Like you would what is going on right now? Where's the Yeti? From the old Yeti. So you'd have these shows, but they would have the supplemental people they couldn't really fill out on SmackDown and Raw go to ECW. And that worked. It really did help certain people. Then, the shows keep going, and then they said, let's make a pay-per-view. December to December. Let's use the Elimination Chamber, and we're going to make it like a hardcore chamber, which all that meant was they added additional weapons. Kind of like a Monsters Ball match where, not the Monsters Ball. It's, what's that? Raven's House of Fun match. Basically a cage match where they attached weapons in TNA. Same thing. To me, it was the same thing. So you have this Elimination Chamber match, and they're like, okay, so for the title, we're going to put people in there. Sabu's going in there. RVD, yeah. CM Punk, awesome. Bobby Lashley, okay. Big Show, all right. So immediately when this show starts, Sabu's knocked out backstage. He's out. He's not in the chamber match anymore. People should immediately have figured this out, that this was going to be a shit show. I'll just never forget this. Me and my brother, we bought this pay-per-view, actually spent the money on this pay-per-view before the network. And the buy rate was, again, approximately, 70,000 or so. It's like the worst. One of the worst buy rates of all time, if not the worst, for a major company. 1,100 people were there to watch it. Not 11,000, 1,100. I mean, that's insane. That's insane to think that. But speaking about the actual match, the actual pay-per-view, it opened with the Hardy Brothers, as we were just talking about, defeating M&M in just a tag team match. No belts on the line, no champions. They went 22 and a half minutes. 22 and a half minutes for this opening match. No titles on the line.
Yep.
It was a pretty good match. I mean, it wasn't, but you already knew there was a problem. And I'll explain this. You'll soon get to the idea why this was a very long match.
Right.
Oh, Lord. Oh, God. I feel my stomach just talking about this show. And I actually own this on DVD too, just to torture myself even more. I own this on DVD. So the match was actually, it was pretty good, but it was like, this was also near the end of getting near the end of M&M. The M&M being so successful, but, So this all ends, whatever, fine. 22 and a half minutes, Hardy's win. A tag match that means nothing. That means nothing. So then you have a Strikers Rules match. Yes, as in everyone's favorite teacher, including Sauce, Matt Striker, who, by the way, I love the gimmick. I think the teacher, the asshole.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, he was great. But when they were talking about the new breed of ECW people, and then you had Matt Striker, it kind of worked because the old ECW had a lot of crazy characters. His character would have definitely worked in the old ECW, and they would have just booed and thrown stuff at him. So it would have worked. So he fights Balls Mahoney, one of the very few matches Balls Mahoney had in WWE for the new ECW. So Balls Mahoney defeats him in a Strikers Rules match, which, by the way, I don't even know what the rules are.
It's a hardcore match gimmick.
Yeah, I tried to look it up, and it gave nothing. It gave nothing. So, hold on real quick second here. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I have a ghost. Apparently, the door just wants to close. It's all good. So it was funny because right after this, Balls Mahoney stayed in WWE, and they dropped the balls, and they just started calling him Mahoney. And then at that point, he was gone. He was gone. He was, but 7 minutes. 7 minutes for this match. Balls Mahoney is not one you watch for matches. I'm just saying. He has never been.
No, he's a type where the match has to be some type of gimmick match. And then you're like, okay.
And you always had to deal with the chairs and everything. Come on, come here. Hi. Oh, yeah. Someone was missing us. Little Brutus. But so now you move on to some more new breed wrestlers. I swear, you have another tag team match. Another Elijah Burke, DJ from Street Fighter, pretty much, and Sylvester Terkay. Do you even remember Sylvester Terkay?
No.
That's what I'm talking about.
I remember the Pope, but I don't remember Sylvester Terkay.
Now, he was great at the Pope, right? Burke and TNA. Now, that was some good stuff right there. But, so they fought the FBI, which was nice to see that. ECW Original, Little Guido, and Tony Mamaluke. So that was cool. That was actually cool seeing those guys. 6.5 minutes, Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay beat the original ECW guys. Cool. In 6.5 minutes. Cool. What was the point? And we're watching this show going, man, this has went by pretty quickly so far. Come here. Okay. He's just being he's staring at me, wants to be picked up like a baby. But so at this point, we're saying, why is this going by so fast? We've already had 3 matches, and it is, I mean, it was like not even 45 minutes in the show. So we're like, okay, so let's keep going. Now you have Daivari with the Great Khali. So Great Khali's on this show, not versus Tommy Dreamer. And Daivari beats him. Another ECW original beaten at an ECW show in 7.5 minutes. So mind you, the first Balls match, 7 minutes. Elijah Burke's match, 6.5 minutes.
Almost 7 minutes.
Almost 7 minutes. And then Daivari's 7:22. Are you seeing the trend here, my friend?
Oh yeah.
So again, Daivari randomly in this match. I mean, what? Tommy Dreamer is not even in the main event as an ECW original former world champion. He's not even that. What? All right. Well, don't worry. It's going to get better. No, I'm lying. So now it goes on to a mixed tag team match. So you already know this is going to be fun. You have Kevin Thorne, who I just mentioned, the vampire, with his girl, Ariel, who goes by Shelly Martinez. Nice to look at, but one of the worst women's wrestlers on the planet. Versus Mike Knox and his girlfriend, Kelly, because she had the exhibitionist gimmick. Mike Knox was the jealous boyfriend. She'd go up and pretend to strip on ECW television, and he would cover her up. That was literally the gimmick. I swear to God, this is what the gimmick. So this match, no one gave a shit about. Guess how long the match was? Just guess.
7 minutes.
7 minutes and 43 seconds.
Oh, see.
Okay. So now that's 6 matches in, right? So I don't have look, you can already just guess how long that's already been just based off the time.
So we looking at that point, it's barely been an hour.
Yep. And guess what? The next match is main event. Main event is
at that point, it was just a 2-hour pay-per-view. Well, the commercial segments.
How it was booked, though, because I remember when we bought it, they always say how long the show's going to be, even with like a repeat. And it said it was supposed to be that. Like, they was always in that, like, what 10, 15 minutes early sometimes, like when you bought it. It's different with how it's on the network. And, well, I said the network on Peacock, such. But no one could prepare us for this. It gets ready for the Elimination Chamber, and they said, we got a new person going to take over Sabu's spot. We're like, cool. All right. It's going to be someone we like. Cool. Nope. It was Hardcore Holly. Hardcore Holly took over Sabu's spot. So you have Bobby Lashley, Big Show, Test, because Test had been moved over to the ECW brand.
Which I was really excited about.
If there was anything that worked on ECW, it was him being as a single star. He did look good for that little bit. I did like that. So that made sense. Rob Van Dam, Hardcore Holly, and then, of course, CM Punk. Now, mind you, CM Punk, he was like a heavy favorite because of how popular he was.
Right.
And guess who was the first eliminated?
CM Punk.
CM Punk absolutely was the first eliminated in the match. So, I mean,
wait, was it by, do you remember if it was by Hardcore Holly?
Not, you know what? I don't even. Probably, I don't know. I didn't pull that information up, unfortunately. But I can tell you who the second person eliminated was. Rob Van Dam. I know. So you can already tell how much they hated the original ECW, and people like. I'm not saying CM Punk original, but I'm saying that, like, really, how bad this match was.
That's crazy, because if anything, like, I knew Bobby Lashley was the one that won it.
Yes.
Like, and then Big Show came in as a champion.
Yes.
I mean, you could have, like, obviously, you know, this once again, you know, if you could rebook it, I'm like, granted, if you want a WWE guy, especially a young guy, if it wasn't going to be Punk, then if you were going to have Lashley, I would have just left it. I would basically make it come down to Rob Van Dam and Bobby Lashley. Right. At that point, you have an ECW, you know, it's coming down to an ECW original, you know, and then the newcomer. And then you could have built, I guess you could have built like maybe a month or two of like give them like a rematch and whatnot. Even though they were trying to push Bobby as a face, whatnot. But actually, you know, if you could rebook it now, you know, you have Bobby go over and then turn him as just like a monster heel. He basically just be Black Brock, and which was what they was doing with him anyway. So you might as well just make him heel, and he could at least had a nice little monster run with the ECW belt, because a lot of people don't even remember they even won it.
Well, yeah, because you gotta remember what happened after that. When McMahon made himself champion, and we got
Do-Rag McMahon, baby.
Do-Rag McMahon. So yeah, at that point you already knew that he didn't care about this ECW brand. So it was just disheartening. And then the match ends. We think something's going to happen. Somebody's coming out. It doesn't even matter who at this point. Nope. End credits. 24 minutes and 42 seconds. The shortest elimination. No, it's actually not the shortest. If I remember correctly, there was one other when I was doing research for it before. I do not have that information off the top of my head, but I think there was one. But for sure, as a main event, this is the shortest, for sure. And
no, that doesn't surprise me. This card was only like 2 hours.
Yep. It literally ended, and we were very just dumbfounded. Probably the most dumbfounded we've ever been. Like, just watching going.
Or you could have, or let's just say hindsight booking. Bobby goes over. He's the champion. And then you debut Kurt Angle, and you have Kurt Angle come out at the end.
Yep. Now that makes sense.
Yeah.
That right there makes sense, because look at that match you just made. Now that's a money match.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? And it fulfills the prophecy that, because Kurt Angle, for one night, was in ECW before he was in WWE. And that's absolutely true. That's damn true.
Well, I remember Kurt Angle said he almost quit when he found out he was got drafted to ECW.
He did. I mean, he was on his way out anyways.
Yeah.
But I still thought that was funny. Like the continuity of that made it more funny. But that's pretty much it on that. But yeah, and I know I feel bad I tortured everyone here about this, but if I had to watch it, you guys have to hear about it. And you know, it is the season. Okay. But yeah, so that was, you know, that's pretty much it when we were just talking about these. I mean, there's plenty of other pay-per-views. We could probably talk about them for a while, but not gonna lie, I'm a little tired. I had some work done on my mouth at the dentist earlier, and I'm in pain, and it sucks. But it's for the greater good, according to my wife. So, but I do want to go over the Not necessarily heat of the week, I guess, but it just a couple things that happened, which I think were pretty cool. So they did announce this past few days ago that on January 1st, Raw, they're actually going to refer to it as the Day One Raw. So they're using the pay-per-view name for it. And SmackDown that week is going to be called New Year's Revolution SmackDown. And I'm not going to lie, I think that's pretty cool. I think it's neat that they're going to use those names for the shows because it makes sense. So it's, even though Day One as a pay-per-view was like whatever, it makes perfect sense to moniker the first Raw of the year since it actually lands on it as it. And then, of course, New Year's Revolution. I was a fan. I liked the show, so I like seeing that name back on TV. So thought that was kind of cool.
I guess. Well, yeah. As far as I guess I do have a heat of the week.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have one, that's fine.
Oh no, I got one. So yeah, hit me with it.
All right. So heat of the week, I'm gonna give it to WWE.
All right.
So I don't know if you heard, but they put Bray Wyatt on a Legends contract.
I did not hear that actually.
So and then what happens is basically if you buy any merch with Bray Wyatt's name, any Bray Wyatt merch, proceeds goes to his family and his kids.
That's some great shit there. That's some great shit.
Yeah, it sounds like something, as much as I get annoyed by stupid Ding Dong Khan, it sounds like something he would have done, and McMahon would have never done. Well, he probably would have did it, he would have had a different way of doing it. But I will say, untimely demise of, one of the wrestling's greatest minds, even though he had too much, he definitely had too much control of his creative near the end of his time. But I will say shout out to WWE for, basically making it so that if you buy any of his merch, his kids will still eat. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. That's a that's a really classy move right there for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know if all Legends contract is like that. Like if you buy merch or whatever, goes straight to them. But if that's one of the clauses of Legends contract as general, I'm not mad at that.
I want to say that is got to be a part of it. Yeah. I know the one thing that stops a lot of older wrestlers from doing it, and this is obviously a different situation. But I knew for a long time the Honky Tonk Man. I'm talking about like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He had said that the only reason why he didn't sign those contracts is because Legends contracts, you can't wrestle independent shows.
Right.
And a lot of times, if you're still able to do it, they need those independent shows because they're wrestling dozens and dozens of them a year and getting that money. So that's the only reason why I can see some people not doing it.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's a very classy move for sure. So
yeah. So that's mine. Shout out to WWE. As far as putting keeping food on his kids' table.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna have to go with Mr. MJF, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
So to segue into that, I guess we'll just say for first. Obviously, his big promo he had said about how he's a free agent in 2024, huge deal. And last time I checked, we are almost to 2024. Whether or not it's January 1st or April 1st or whatever time, I don't know if he actually said. He just said 2024. I'm a free agent. He is now trolling, or is he, everyone on the internet. He's been promoting the new movie, The Iron Claw, which looks great, about the Von Erich family, and he's in it. In the movie.
Well, I will say, just as not to get your hopes high up. Apparently, they cut a lot of his stuff out. Like they said, you have to like really look hard. Like you have to really pay attention to see him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he's definitely not like a lead or anything. Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White. These are the lead guys in this.
Yeah.
But still, it's still cool that he was asked to be in it. But he's promoting that movie and he's being interviewed, and he kind of goes off to someone asked him about his contract, and then he kind of talked about Cody, about how Cody said, yeah, I re-signed with AEW, I re-signed, and then showed up at WrestleMania. Kind of. So he's at this point stirring the pot. We're going to stir, Bruce, stirring the pot. And then see, this is the MJF I want, not the crying little whatever. So guess what? Next week, we are going to be covering the preview of AEW's last show of the year, which is the World's End show, which is on the 30th. Samoa Joe faces MJF for the title. At this point, give Samoa Joe the title. I don't care. The devil will probably be shown at this time. Let Samoa Joe have it. He deserves it. He's worked his ass off. And then MJF, you don't need the title to make a great feud happen. Look at Shawn Michaels and Triple H in their unsanctioned match, one of my favorite matches. No title on the line, but hatred was there. So sometimes you can make it work without it. But that's what we're going to talk about next week. And I think with MJF, I think we're going to get some more, and we're going to get back to the good MJF at that point, in my opinion. But here's hoping. Here's hoping, actually. But yeah. So on that note, I didn't really have much else, Sauce, unless you had anything else.
No, I'm pretty much good.
All right, Bruce, you got anything? No? You want to just sit there blankly looking at the screen? All right. He's with me. He's just sitting here like, look at this. I kind of got him. I got my hand like, good. Good. See, that's the difference between cats and dogs. That's why villains have cats, because cats are already evil in general. So I'm just kidding. But on that note, we're going to wrap it up for this week, and we're going to catch you next week again. We're going to go over basically kind of like just anything that kind of happened in the year, if it popped in our heads. But then hopefully we have a full card before World's End. I'm just saying. And we'll tell you all about it. But, on that note, I, of course, Dr. Love. And I can't do it without him, but we got Sauce Bronson right over there. So, oh, excuse me. Sorry, buddy.
On that note, we're going to go ahead and let Doc rest his throat. But y'all be happy, y'all be safe, and most importantly, be good.
And Merry Christmas to all.
And to all, Lions win.